Good afternoon, everybody. Today we have with us a very versatile person from design industry, Miss Neha Shetty Mishra. It is our privilege that we are getting a chance to interact with her. I extend a warm welcome to Neha ma'am on behalf of all of us at Raheja School of Art. Let me give you a small introduction of Neha ma'am. Miss Neha inherited her artistic sensibilities from an artistically inclined family. She comes from a background of artists, sculptors, carvers, and everything related to art and design. From her upbringing at home to getting educated at the premier school in India, the National Institute of Design was a step into the world of creativity. Having studied MDes in lifestyle accessories design, her professional training at NID made her translate her design language and visualizing out of the box design solutions. She has earned her versatility having worked in various capacities as jewelry designer, design consultant, industrial designer, faculty of design, and as a design mentor to many students in their project as an individual practicing design on daily basis. She says she is constantly inspired by new experiences, culture, music, and the people she meets. And each encounter is a new learning process. Miss Neha is currently into academics and a professor at Premier B School in Mumbai. She works as an assistant professor of business design at Principal Ellen Wellinger Institute of Management Development and Research, Mumbai, which is well known as V School. She is also a part of Kern Culture Consultant and Brand Strategy. Previously, she was working with Symbiosis Institute of Design as an adjunct faculty of fashion communication and also in firms like Indie Design Private Limited, the Thinking Cloud Design, founder and designer, Out Design Retail Private Limited as a design manager, Titan Industries, Capital India Private Limited. I would now like to request Neha ma'am to take this session forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Swapna ma'am, for giving such a kind introduction. It's my pleasure and it is my honor to share my knowledge of whatever I have learned over the years with the young minds, which I hear online with some of them cameras closed and cameras on, so which is absolutely fine. Um, uh, Also, there have been a lot of things in this presentation. Before I begin, there are few things which I've learned over the years, and there are some things which I do practice and I share it with my students and also use it in my lifestyle. Okay, now these things are very very important. So I'm going to begin my presentation. And sorry, I just started off, but a very, very big thank you to my teacher, Ambekar Madam, who invited me here to share my experiences. She has been my teacher when I was studying in Raja School of Art, Bandra, and I passed out in way back in 1999. So, which is long, long, many, many years ago. I suddenly feel very old. But thank you so much, ma'am, for inviting me. Yes, to begin with, few things which I'm going to share. I have slides to show you all, but these slides will be very minimalistic, but I will talk a lot on it. So probably if you have anything you want to note down or something which you liked when I'm talking, please jot it down in your notepads. And later on, you can raise your hands or come on the camera, ask me questions. If I can, in my capacity, I will answer you all. And if I cannot, but I will try to find the answer for you all. So thank you so much once again. I'm going to start my presentation. So once it is visible, ma'am, just give me a thumbs up or tell me if it is visible. Yeah, can you see my slides? Because I cannot see all. Can you see my slides? Is it visible? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So, like I said, certain things in life you learn, you unlearn, and you relearn. So, when Ambekar madam called me for a guest session and she told me what topic, so this is what I could do. But the other challenging part was how am I going to share this about learn, unlearn, and relearn? So that is why sharing some of my experiences, what I have learned, and sharing with you all. So why learn, unlearn, and relearn? Because too many times we learn many things and we forget it. But in today's era, in today's century, learning some things and unlearning them and then again relearning them, adapting to the current situation is very, very important. And how do you do that? And how did this come to me and why has this inspired me? Is because of the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write. They will be the ones who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. It's by Alvin Toffler. He is a author. He is an American banker and many other facets around it. And this has become a very, very well-known quote, which is going in and around, and people abide to it. Now, three things I'm going to talk in this session. One is design thinking and innovation, skills, and storytelling. Now, there are other aspects also which I could have added, but probably the paucity of time, it would have taken longer hour. Also, these three topics, I am going to tell you all a gist of it. Probably your homework could be to find out more answers about it and start implementing them in your studies. So these are the three things which are currently ongoing in the market, in the industry, very, very important. And those who have understood this part or understood this, this is no theory. There is no theory to it. If there are some part of it who have understood this process well, they are doing extremely well in life, and so could you, and how you can implement it. Now, design thinking and innovation, way back when I joined NID, this is the base of any design institute. You have to learn design thinking, and learning in the sense you have to have an hands-on experience to experience it, to implement it. So how do you do that? And over the years, management schools, engineering colleges, there have been short courses happening on design thinking and innovation, because design thinking leads to innovation. And how do you do that? Secondly, skills, very, very important. And they're all related to each other. Probably when the words are highlighting on the screen now, you may feel they are disoriented. It's like actually unlearning something, they're disoriented, but how do you merge them together? So that's the fun. And then the third comes is storytelling. Now, storytelling, yes, if you go in a very normal manner, yes, it is about narrating a story, listening to story. Ekta Raja, Ekti Rani, and then ho gayi kahani, they lived happily ever after. This is what it happens. But how has this storytelling been a very important part of all of these criterias and how you can use it? Now, what is design thinking? Now, if you all have any idea about what is design thinking, you all can put it in the chat box, because I can't see the chat box now. I will read it later. Or also you can say that I have heard about design thinking, but I don't know what it is. It is okay to not know anything. And it is also okay to know something and not do anything about it. So it is absolutely fine. Now, design thinking is a thought process. Now, what kind of thought process? It's a human-centered approach to innovation. It's a process of creative solving. How do you creatively solve a problem? How do you get to the problem and creatively solve it. Now, you see the circle, triangle, hexagon, square, and a pentagon here. Okay. Now, these are the 5 stages. But the 5 stages, I'm not going to go into deep because you have to probably do a short homework or a short workshop on this to enjoy this whole process. But at the same time, you can at least learn it by looking at it or by listening. So that is exactly what we're going to do here. There are 5 processes to it, and how these 5 steps are used to come up to a solution. Now, before that, people say that now what is how do you identify a problem? Okay, first thing is like, where do these problems come from? How do I look into the problems? Now, there is a way that, for example, you say, I've been using my mobile for a long time, and I want to get something where my mobile stands on. So there is a little bit of niche area where you identified a problem, saying that mobile talking on the phone gives me a text neck, or it gives me a back pain. So what has people come up with? If people come up with enormous designs, enormous ideas on how you can cope up with your discomfort while using the phone. So there have been tripods. There have been tripods with the light. So you can put the phone on the stand, and with the light you can record, and at the same time look nice on camera and screen, believing that you're sitting in a very swanky office, and it's presentable. People like presentation, people like to see good things, people like to be comfort in their zone, and also like to be complacent in their zone. Some people don't care about it, some do. But if you care about it and if you come up with a solution, it works. So how do you identify the problem? So empathize is one area, or empathize means to get into somebody else's shoe and find out how that person feels, what that person feels, what are the needs, what is the purpose of it, is it really having a problem? Now, problem, when I say the word problem, does not mean negative. The problem may also be a niche area where you're finding opportunity spaces, that yes, this is one area I can do something. Yes, this is one area I think probably build something and make it more comfortable. So this is how you identify them. You all travel from the train, you all travel from the rickshaw. There are at times, a simple example, in the market when you go, you see an umbrella which has a plastic cover. So you open the umbrella, and you use the umbrella, but the water drips, right? The water drips. You take the same umbrella, put it in the car carpet gets wet. You take the same umbrella, put it in your bag. You want a plastic bag for it. But what they have come, Chinese smile. But at least some ideation they have put. They've put some idea to it, that they've put a cover to it. So once you roll the umbrella, you put the cover to it, it's okay, it's not dripping, it's not causing an uncomfortness to anyone in the train, in the rickshaw, in the cab, nothing. But simple things matter much. But there are many more big things which have happened in life, many more big things which have happened in our own lifestyle, which we have taken for granted. How do you think that a medicine can be delivered to your doorstep in within an hour, or within 5 minutes, or within 15 minutes? What are these apps doing? Okay. In the pandemic situation, there have been these apps have been given rise. There have been birth of many of these apps. There is NetMeds, there is PharmEasy, there is so many other things. Even the Kirana wala has an app. You just have to, not WhatsApp him now. He will give you a list. You just have to pick what you want, how many grams you want, and you select a slot. He will come to your house. Now that is how services also have been improved. What is Swiggy doing to you? It is, acting like a mother to your hunger, or you just pick up a call and everything comes. Where has this come from? Where has this come from? Given a choice in this pandemic situation, you were said, everything is shut. No khana, no pina. You take your grocery from the kirana wala, stock it in your house and make it. But people need choices, isn't it? We all need choices. Sometimes you want to go to a restaurant, right? Why do you want to go to a restaurant? just like that, because you have money, or you want another other environment, or just as a family gathering. So there are various mediums by which you create these things, and you are enjoying, you are having a good life. It is sustaining your life to a good lifestyle. Your lifestyle is changing, but your choice is also changing. So as per your choices, your lifestyle changes, and there where technology comes into handy. What is technology doing now? I'm not in person in your classroom, but this is a classroom for us. We are learning. I am getting to know some good faculties. I am interacting with them. At the same time, I'm networking. I don't know. I haven't met Ambekar ma'am in the past, I think, so many years. Probably once I met her at the other platform. That's it. Later on, we haven't been. But how technology is connecting people? Technology has affected many of our lives, and yes, this plays an important part in design thinking also. You empathize first, and you define what are the needs and the insights, and you brainstorm on ideas, what I can do for this particular problems, and you brainstorm. You are all art students, just take the paper and pencil, draw it out, sketch it out, doodle, write, or you think about some poem on that. Okay, fine, no problem. Your ideation has no deliverable solutions or conclusions. Your brainstorming can be anything, because one brainstorm ideas can give birth to n number of brainstorm ideas. Later on, you want to test how it works, like, you want to see how it works, like, okay, I've made a stand for the mobile, and this is going to be very useful for people who wear the neck mask all around, and they have to hold their phone like this all the time. So I have made a stand for it. Let me see how it looks. So you prototype it, you make it. You take some raw material which is in the house. There are so many raw material: cardboard, thermocol, clay, wire, anything you need it, or you draw it out. You art students has that much of facility and that much of capacity that you can visualize what is there in your mind on the paper, which becomes easier to prototype in a 3D format. And then you test it. You test whether it is working for people. If it works in the market. If it doesn't work, that is not wrong, but somewhere your research has fallen aback. So you try to collate. Okay, then go back again and test that what could be the reason that people are not enjoying that particular product. What is it? So you go back, you test, and you prototype. So there are various ways on how you use this process and how you go about in this process. And there are some example which I have a video to show you all, uh, which will be interesting. Let me know if you can see the video. Just hold on. Ma'am, I will play for some time. Just tell me, just unmute and tell me if you can hear the video and see the video, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
India produces tons of flower waste every day.
Can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay, I'll share it again. And you can see me also, no?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a very nice example, a very Indian brand example which I am showing. I show this example to all my students because this is one example of design thinking. Okay.
India produces tons of flower waste every day. But now, one company is giving a second life to these sacred flowers, collecting more than 12 tons of them from temples and transforming them into handmade incense sticks. But can this blossoming startup make an impact on India's flower waste problem? We visited the headquarters of Fool and Kanpur to find out. It all starts in bustling wholesale markets like the one in Shivalaya. Merchants pick up the flowers that they'll sell outside Hindu temples. Because these flowers are used in rituals, they're considered sacred and can't be thrown into the garbage. Every day, more than 1,000 tons of flowers end up in the Ganges River. But many contain toxic chemicals like arsenic, lead, and cadmium, as well as pesticides.
I have been seeing people putting flowers in the water all my life, but never before had anyone questioned temple waste as a source of pollution. The seed was sown.
Ankit founded Fool, which is the Hindi word for flower. The company's employees pick up the waste from temples throughout Kanpur, making around 19 stops a day. Then they transport the flowers to Fool's facility, where they weigh and separate them from thread, fabric, and plastic. Workers save only the flower petals for the incense sticks and sort them by color. They keep the buds and stems to create compost that is sold as a separate product. Then they lay the flower petals out to dry on large tarps. Once they're dry, they grind them into a powder that is mixed by hand with water and essential oils until it reaches a clay-like texture. Then it's time to roll. Workers dip their fingers into the flour powder while rolling to create an even thickness. Then they let the sticks dry before dipping them again in essential oils. They're laid out to dry one more time, then packaged up. Workers here can produce around 400 incense sticks every hour. Ankit calls this transformation flower cycling, and he says his product is cleaner than others.
Normally, incense sticks are made from charcoal. Burning charcoal releases the poisonous sulfur dioxide and gives out a lot of xylene chemicals.
In the beginning, Ankit's family and friends doubted his business.
When I decided to quit my job and come back to Kanpur, the reaction, the immediate people I knew was, I've gone bonkers, that I want to leave a job as an automation scientist and work with temple flowers.
He also had to convince the temples to give his business their sacred flower waste. But he says they didn't initially trust him.
There's this line in the Hindu Aarti which says, Tera tujhko arpan, which basically means what belongs to the gods goes back to the gods. So this is how I used to convince them that these flowers don't belong to you or me, they belong to the gods. And we're using it for the purpose of making incense, which is again being used for worshipping the gods.
Ankit also wants to find other ways of recycling the flowers. He started a research lab to develop new products. They're testing vegan leather and a biodegradable alternative to styrofoam, but those aren't ready for sale.
The video has stopped, I think, ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am, I think she is also internet is also there's some issue because
Okay. She has stopped the video. Shall I call her?
yes, ma'am, if you could, because she might not be knowing.
Swapna ma'am, she's there and she's trying to connect it again.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
Really, it is a good example of design.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, last year, Ashmisha was going to do a campaign on this brand.
Okay.
But then something happened and she left it and she went to another subject.
Okay. There is one more guy who has done the campaign on the chappals. I think might all students have seen that video on the WhatsApp. He collects all the raw chappals or used chappals or shoes, and he separates the soles, and he has developed the brand. I think green something, and again he reused those chappals and he's giving to the mm, all poor kids those chappals, poor kids, families, and Nike promoted his activity, and now that brand is promoted by Nike.
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, hi. What happened? Yeah.
I think there is an internet problem. It's raining very heavily here.
Oh,
That's why. But I hope that everyone has seen the video.
yeah. We saw the video. Correct.
Okay, okay. I want any one of your students to just unmute and tell me what did you see in the video? What is it all about? Anyone can just raise their hands or unmute and talk. And then I will proceed further. Have you all heard this brand called Fool? No one? You can say no if you have not heard. It's okay.
No, ma'am.
Not heard? Okay, okay. Fool. Now, in this video, I want to know, do you think that how did he identify the problem? What did you see in the video? I said in the design thinking process, you have to identify a problem. How did he identify a problem here?
By his surroundings.
Yeah, by his surroundings. What in the surroundings?
He himself is from that area, like
Sorry?
near the river.
Okay. 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 Let me just make it easier for you. That do you think that Ankit Agarwal, the CEO of this company, was looking around for problems, or he just came across a problems? Now, like I said, that there are a lot of problems around us in our environment, in our house, but we take things for granted. So he saw a problem there because he is from that particular area. He's born and brought up there. He is an IIM graduate, and he had a big job of automation data scientist in a big company. And he saw that there is a lot of things which are happening around which is not been heard of. So how I can make it a better place? Or probably he identified that problem and he wanted to develop it, making it into a business model. And at the same time, now this video is very very short, but this particular person has also given rise to women employment. So there are majority of the women working in his organization. Also, if you go to his website, uh, absolutely stunning branding and packaging done. The illustrating style is something different, and also the packaging, it is eco packaging. So have a look at it. It is very very interesting. So my main motto of showing this example is that how people look around, or people have that mindset, to understand or to ask somebody or to know about something. This is where you learn. This is the first part, that where you learn about it. Okay, if you want to learn, you have to pinpoint at smaller details what are happening in your life, and that's what gives rise to many many more things in life. Okay, now there is one short video again of 4 minutes on the similar basis, but a different sector. Now this was a sector where everyday use, flowers, religious sector, or probably something which is a consumer product. People are buying this and using agarbatti. Everybody uses agarbatti at home. So this is one place. And the another sector which is very different. I'm going to show it to y'all. Have a look. And Saurabh, when you just see my video, if it is moving, if you can hear me, just unmute and tell me yes, okay?
Well, we're here today for a CT scan of Duncan's sinus.
Can you hear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. I'm going to play this.
Well, we're here today for a CT scan of Duncan's sinuses. He's had some really chronic congestion and coughing. So we're going to have a look and see what's going on in there. And the pirate room was pretty cool. The room was painted completely like a pirate setup, including the floor. The floor was like the dock with the water on the sides, and animals, things on the walls. And the CT scanner itself was like the wheel of a pirate ship. It's for a child, it can be kind of scary. You see things that make noise and look very institutional, and this is. You're not even really thinking about the fact that you're doing a procedure. Very, very welcoming, very whimsical and fun.
We were sedating a lot of our children to keep them still while we were imaging them, so there wasn't motion on the images. And we found out that maybe if we could distract them long enough, we could get them through the scan without sedation. And although sedation is done very safely here at Children's, it still has some risk to it, and we wanted to reduce that risk. So in the hospital in Oakland, we started in our CT scanner, and we were able to take simple things like murals on the wall, disco balls, projecting images on the ceiling, and change the atmosphere from being so medical in CT to almost being an underwater sea adventure with mermaids and fish. And it worked. We found out we were able to reduce sedations in that CT scanner by about 90%. And after we realized how successful this was, it was during the time we were getting ready to come to the new hospital. We decided that we could make this so much better with the opportunity of new rooms and new scanners and new equipment. So we began to partner with GE, and we came up with what's now known as the Adventure Series.
My name is Stephen Jones, and I'm a nurse at Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh, here in the radiology department, and exactly in my favorite room, which is the pirate room that we've designed with GE, and it's themed to help the children, get through the scans, feel a little bit more comfortable, to feel like it's not so medical, more friendly, and that way we can use that atmosphere to warm them up, get them into the scanner, and then from that point to complete the exam. Like 6 or 7 years ago, it would be a plain old scanner with no decorations at all, and kids who look at that machine as being something very scary. And I would just look at my coworkers for little things that they would do to help the kids get through those scans. Everything from pretending that they were at a hair salon, getting their hair washed, to painting their nails, imagination that we're going somewhere, some things like that. And then we decided as a group to go ahead and decorate the scanners, and that seemed to be a great step in the right direction. And so we just continued with that train of thought, and added some massage therapy, rocking the scanners, putting the parents up on the scanners with the kids, making it more fun, storytelling and things like that. Then we started working with GE, and then we actually themed out some of the rooms to be a story. So in many situations, I will be in a room preparing the child to come into the scanner, and I'll start talking about the pirate adventure, actually giving the kid a pirate hat to wear, getting them to use get on board with me going, "Arr," you're like, what does the pirate say? And they're like, "Arr." And so we'll just run down the hallway together to get on the pirate ship. And then once we do, it's usually pretty easy to get them through the scan. A lot of the doctor's offices take a while to realize that, this kid doesn't need sedation. They'll be just fine doing this test because we work with the kids that well. And so they're surprised. And over the years, it's kind of funny that they've caught on to it. Like, oh no, you'll do fine at Children's. They don't even order sedation anymore because they know you'll be just fine. You're going to Children's, and that's going to be great because you're going to have a good experience there.
Okay, I hope you all have liked this video. Okay, so here one point is that when there was, have you ever been to a pediatrician, or do you know any doctor who treats children? They have a different knack of talking to them or probably understanding them. That is why probably I feel they are called pediatricians, because they treat children the way they are and they themselves become like childlike. This was a case where this is a real, this has also been a case study now, very, very important, and it's been circulated among many of the colleges about how children's MRI scanning machine in radiology in Pittsburgh was converted into a different environment. So here, how did people identify the problem? Do you think that that every time to sedate a child or to give him anesthesia to go into the MRI machine is good? That was one thing which was probably hitting onto people. It's as simple as that. When a child is being taken for a vaccine or his daily dose or yearly vaccine, the parents have to do so much of homework before taking the child to the hospital that they give them incentives. You take the vaccine, I will give you a chocolate. You take the vaccine, you take the prick of the injection, but I will give you this. But do not shout, but you have to take it. How much of a storytelling, of how much of a preparation which goes into it. So you can imagine that a radiology department where the children are put under the MRI scanning machine. And if anyone has experienced MRI scanning machines, they make noise. They make utter noises, which is not pleasant at all. Even if the person who is ill will fall more sick. That is why they allow one more person inside as a companion or as an accompaniment, to stay there, so that the other person does not feel scared. So you can imagine the mentality of the child. Here the child psychology comes into most important part. Your child, before going to the MRI scanning machine, had to be sedated because you cannot move in the machine. You have to be still. The only thing you can do is breathe. That's it. That also the nurse will tell you, okay, now take 5 deep breaths and be normal. Then again the noise starts and that's the scanning start. So you can imagine what the child goes through all of this. And to make him still, put him there, doctors used to sedate them, which is not a good thing for the body. So these are some of the identified problems. And being a children's hospital, how can you empower your own hospital to grow into a different environment and do something nice? So here you have identified so many problems, and this is for children. So do you think these nurses and these doctors have painted it? No. There are these art school children, there are designers who sat down together, who decided what it has to be like. And then they got the MRI, the machine at the radiology department painted colors to various themes. The various themes were some which children like, something which is already trending in the market, something like a mermaid or Pirates of the Caribbean. You saw that small boy wearing the pirate hat? Yeah, like that. So now the pirate hat. Now when these things are done, this is what you're creating a different environment. Okay. Before that environment, like I said, the parents had to do a lot of homework before taking the child to the clinic or to the dispensary for an injection. Okay, not every child is a He-Man or a Wonder Woman that, okay, you prick me anything, I will not feel anything. Nothing like that. Can you imagine that this was an environment part, but the service part also had to be renewed? On what way they did it? When the nurse was talking, he said that he had to story tell the children. Okay. Now, people working in these departments, like who are pediatricians, who are nurses, who take care of the child, who are of the neonatal, IC unit, etc., etc., they have children all around them. So for them, it becomes very easy for them to talk. So what did the nurse? The nurse had to go through a process of storytelling the child that once there was a pirate, he went to on a ship to get lots of gold and this and that. So there was a lot of character which was playing. What is a child's psychology? What is a child's mental belonging? Is like he visualizes. He probably has more visualization power than me or than you, because he can put it on the paper also. So what happens? The child visualizes. So the nurse had to tell him that story. You can imagine the nurse process of how to tell the story and how to entice that particular patient to take him to the MRI machine was one more commendable job. It's not easy. It's not easy to tell stories also. So he had to go through that whole process. Once the child is ready, okay, he's been given that, okay, now you're the pirate, you wear the pirate hat, chalo. So there is a whole way, a long walk he takes the nurse, and then they are put in the MRI machine. And when the child enters that space is what he visualized when the nurse was talking to him, because there is a pirate's cabin, there is a pirate's, or probably a mermaid which is hanging. You saw a water body, there was a fish tank there. So these all things entice children. So this becomes easier for them to, juggle and be ready for that whole machine experience, which is not very pleasantry. So this is how problems are identified. It is just that you have to look around. The moment you look around, you will identify them. There could be something in the system, there could be something in the service, there could be something in the product, but doing something which serves the purpose is where design thinking helps, and that's where the novelty sparks and innovation happens. So there is some more examples. We'll go ahead now. Okay, to begin this, the most important is to embrace a beginner's mindset. You have to change your mindset to learning something new, to identifying things, to looking around. Like how you have come here to listen to me, I am sharing something what I have learned. So listening, another very, very important thing. But for this, you have to embrace, you have to take. Now, how you all have got adapted to technology. Did you all ever imagine that you could have classes on Google Classroom or Zoom or MS Teams or WebEx? There are so many platforms going on, but you embraced it. You embraced it with a beginner's mindset, thinking that, this is what is the beginning of another revolution. And yes, the fourth industrial revolution is already begun. And how? 5 things to keep in mind when you're doing this. This is related to the topic what I'm talking, and also something for your own benefit, is to empathize. Whatever it is, if somebody is telling you something about, I don't like this, I think this should be better done that. Okay, listen, empathize, ask, think and say that what could be the problem? Why is that person saying this? Okay. Second thing, risk. View risk as experimentation. Take risk in life where you're going to learn and have lots of experimentation. Okay. And I'm going to go diagonally that side and let go your expectation. Don't expect that something big is going to happen. Wow, I'm going to innovate. I'm going to invent this. No, not everybody is Einstein here. You can think yourself you're an Einstein, but the process what is you will be going through is more important. Your product is not important. But what did Einstein first do? He saw, he heard, He saw how these things are going to happen, and that's where the invention happened. Okay. Novelty, when I said novelty sparks learning, you take novelty to anything which is new. Take it. Sometimes you like it or you leave it. But novelty really sparks learning. So learn, always learn something new. You may use it, you may not use it. There are several students of your age maybe doing some courses, abroad of 2 weeks of, data visualization, or probably 2 weeks of infographics on Coursera or Unacademy or etc. etc. There are so many platforms now. There is no dearth of learning. But if you feel that your subject has a novelty to take the knowledge of this particular subject, go for it, because that really matters now. Intrigue, channel your curiosity. You have to be curious, very curious. Tomorrow you may have curiosity in me. There will be many students who would wanting to know that what exactly, how is she teaching this, or probably what has made her to give me those 5 examples. That curiosity, let it be. It's absolutely fine. Have curiosity in anything and whatever you feel like, because that sparks everything what is here on the screen. Second thing, now this is another part. Now second thing I'm coming to is skills. You all have come in this college because you all have skills, not because you all are just some graduate and you know how to sketch, but there are some skills, and those skills are nurtured by your faculty members and your professors. Each of the faculties have that spark and that novelty where each student has to exploit it. Yes, please take this word of exploitation. You have to exploit your faculty to the fullest to learn and to gain as much as you can. Probably the faculty might have to go somewhere and read about it. If you show that interest, the faculty will do it for you. That happens with me also. Sometimes I don't know anything. I go back and I read, and then I say, oh, this is something nice. This is something new. Let me also learn it. So National Education Policy, NEP 2020, the focus areas of the reform seek to cultivate 21st century skills among students, which includes critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, and digital literacy. 4 things, very important. These are the 4 things important even when you apply for a job. Now there are bifurcations of this also. There are lots of other skills added to it, but they are the bifurcations. But the main head crowns or the pawns of the chess, you would say, ki Raja, Rani, and everything is this: critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, and digital literacy. This is what the 4 things people want to know when you apply. Just by doing a drawing or just by doing a excellent layout with excellent balance, gray area, etc., whatever you say is not enough. You have to be beyond it. And how you can be beyond it is you have to identify your skills and nurture it. Now, each one of y'all sitting at home, I'm very sure that some are sitting on the sofa, some are sitting on the bed, aram se late ke sun rahe. No problem. It's okay. Okay. Apart from that, understand your lifestyle of what new thing you have learned today. Or probably you say that, I'm good at sketching. My black and white sketches are amazing than my color ones. Let me, nurture it. How can I go ahead in it? During my time when we were in college, there were nothing like Facebook, Instagram, काही नव्हतं. Nothing was there. We were just with a paper, this book, that's it. Over the years, it has evolved. You all have got more exposure. You all have got more exposure to so many things which you can easily grasp. But not everything you have to grasp. You can see what is going around. See what identifies with you. See what is relevant to you. Interpersonal skills. How many of you all know what is interpersonal skills? Somewhere where you communicate, somewhere you keep relationships, somewhere where you have good networking. That really helps. And out of this college, out of this, particular sacha, you go, there is much more to it. So be ready for it. Just having a friendship with a friend and not learning from that friendship or learning from each other uh, is going to help. Just doing anything hi, bye, hello is not going to help. Now, there are some benefits and advantages you have to take, but in the right style, in the positive manner. Creative thinking, like I said. Do you think that Ankit Agarwal from IIM wanted to leave his job and do something like this and come up with a brand called fool.co.in and make agarbattis? But the agarbattis are doing extremely well. I think he has a great turnover. He has crores of market shares, everything, what not. But how has that developed? Probably he had that mindset to identify that problem. He also had those skills, his background of management background, where he could empower women employment. Where he could call women to work in his in his cell, where they could make agarbattis. Also had a proper logistic and an operations in mind, that this is what I want to do. And if this is going to be good for the environment, and also at the same time going to adhere to the sustainability development goals, there is something called SDG goals. Have a look at it. When I'm talking, you can just note it down. SDG goals. Is it going to serve the purpose? But at the same time, he did not think about how much money he's going to make. He just thought about a problem and how he can make something out of it. And now it's doing really well. There are women who are fending, for their families. There are children who are going to school, and at the same time, they are having a good lifestyle. And at the same time, the flowers, India is rich in all these culture. There are flowers, there are fruits, there are festivals, etc., etc. So all of these, it's an amalgamation of so many ideas all together. So this is how he has problem solved it. Okay, at the same time doing good to the environment, to the people. Teamwork. You cannot work alone. If you're working alone, you better have all of these other skills. If you think that you do not have interpersonal skills, but my friend has it, take advantage, benefit it, but at the same time work in a team. How a team can collaborate. The second thing is to have a collaboration amongst your classroom also. You all should have collaboration. If I feel tomorrow I want to collaborate with Ambekar ma'am for some project, I will go to her, because I know, okay, I have an idea. Let me talk it out to her. If it is nice, she will like it. If it is bad, it is okay. Next. But you have to speak up. You have to talk about it. You have to communicate it. Your verbal communication in any matter, whether it is in talking, whether it is writing a simple email, even if it is a one-liner, or if it is a WhatsApp. Your WhatsApp language when you're talking to your friend is different than a WhatsApp language when you talk to your colleagues is different. It cannot be the same. It cannot be the slang language. You said, I'm gonna do that. I'm going to do that. It is like that. So your verbal communication marks a very important milestone, because you all are all art people. Okay. When I was in art school, I think I could talk because that was there in the family like that, but it never gave me a chance. It's only when I went to NID, when there were 30 people in front of me and asking me about my work, that is how a jury happens. It is not where you write your exams and go. No, there nobody is seeing you, na. But here in NID, that is a culture that every semester your work is displayed and you talk about it. You offend it, you defend it, and you example it and you experiment it. So there are faculties who would try to, put you down, ask you many questions. It's on how you develop. My first year of NID was a mess. I did not do, because I think that was not the culture in what I was brought up in. But I learned it. What I did, I learned and I unlearned a few things. I let go. I said, let me learn this, because I have to survive. It's a survival thing. Okay. And at the end of it, when you come out, you are a different person. Leadership qualities. Everybody has leadership qualities, but it is on how you, take it. Okay. Probably I may have a leadership qualities of listening to everyone. Okay, you have this idea. Okay, you have this idea. Okay, fine. I'll jot it down, and then probably give my idea, saying that I think this is what we could do. First and foremost of leadership qualities is to listen what others are saying. Probably not just throw yourself all around or put your weight around, but listen to what is happening. Nowadays, people don't want to listen. They get very angry, they get very upset. But this is showing your interpersonal skills are bad. This is not going to work in the industry. Let me tell you very frankly. You have to listen. How much ever upset you are, how much ever this, there are ways to respond. You have to learn that. Probably you can learn that by meeting many people, networking with many people. And if you feel that, oh, he's a very big person, is he going to talk to me? Don't think like that. Everybody wants to meet every different kinds of people. Everybody will talk. It is on that person. If he wants, if he has the time, yes, he'll give you that much time, and he will. But your efforts to go and go beyond it has to improve. So identify your skills. Each one has one, and nurture it and see how that skill is going to help you in your work life, in your personal life. And that's where you flourish, you blossom in life. And there are lots you can go on of these skills, but these are some of the important things which work in the market right now, and they will forever. Now, design, there's visual design, there's design thinking. They're different, but they're connected. Like I said, learn, unlearn, and relearn. We've learned a few things. For skills, we unlearn a few things, we learn a few things. And then how do you relearn them? Third part, storytelling. Very, very important. Like I said that एक होता राजा, एक होती राणी, मग त्यांचं लग्न झालं आणि खतम हो गई कहाणी. Yes, everybody likes it. Everybody likes story. You yourself are a story. I am a story. Ambekar ma'am is a story. Swapna ma'am is a story. Everyone is a story. But how they are telling it to you is on us, is on each of us. And how do you take it is also on each of us. And how do you do that? This is another important thing, what works. Storytelling is an interactive art of using words and actions to reveal the elements and images of a story while encouraging the listener's imagination. What's your story? If I have to put down my story, I would say that a lively story, but currently in a very lot of other things. There are very adjectives and verbs which I can add to. If there was a workshop on what's your story, it actually can be a workshop. And this will enable students to communicate and have a better communication skills further. So how people tell their story. So what's your story is like that. What is that one thing what ticks the brains of the audience? When you say, when you go to watch a movie, okay, whom do you go to watch for? Why do you go to watch for? Do you go for experience, or do you go for, I like Ranbir Kapoor, so I'm going for, I like Alia Bhatt, okay, I'll wear. Okay. Do you go for, some people go for cinematography, some people go for the costume, okay. Now, there are different aspects you look for, but there should be one aspect on you which you're nailing it, and that's your big idea. Importance of storytelling, very integral part of design thinking. Now, design thinking is one, but integral part of your skill development also, because your skill is talking about your story. It is not my story. I am doing something. I am an academician. I am teaching. That is my story. How I teach, that is my story. But design thinking, I've put this in the sentence, but your skills, your development is also your story. Connect meaning to information. Just don't do something for the heck of it. I like ceramic art. I like pottery. I'm doing it and I'm selling it. Do you have any purpose, meaning to it? Because now people look for something. Okay, very nice. It's a blue art pottery. He's selling it. Wonderful. But if there is a connection, if there is a purpose to it, if there is something told extra beyond it, people will like it. That's the connection between yourself and your audience. to shift people's thinking by tapping into empathy and emotion. You are tapping into somebody's emotion. You are tapping into somebody's, you're empathizing, you're getting into somebody else's shoe and understanding what he wants. Okay. Somebody said that, I'm putting on a lot of weight and, I want to lose. So somebody said, okay, for some time, give up on having dairy products and have green tea. Why do you think this green tea is suddenly a range in the market? Why do you think people are opting for yoga? What is happening now? This is different subject. Mental health, wellness, everybody wants to be calm, everybody wants to have a nice life, have a work life balance, etc., etc. Okay, yoga is one way of doing it. People exercise, but at the same time people here listen to music. What are they doing? They're tapping into your emotions. They're talking to your emotions. For each and everything, there are niche, there are opportunity spaces which you have to tap. Okay. To make abstract concepts real and tangible, there are lots of concepts. There is no dirt for ideas in the market, but it is how you make the concept real and tangible. For that, you have to tell a story. Na? For that, you have to sell. How are you selling? You are actually not selling, you are serving. Once you serve, you will sell. Articulating the vision for your clients. Articulating. There are some clients who cannot visualize. They just cannot visualize. You have to draw and show it to them. और यू हैव टू टेक देम टू दैट एक्सपीरियंस पार्ट एंड शो देम, सी मैडम आप यहाँ पे चलोगे तो आपको ऐसा लगेगा कि आप अमेजोन फॉरेस्ट में आ गए हो, या probably यू आर वेयरिंग 5 carat diamond on your hand. So sometimes you have to articulate to them. So there are various ways you can articulate. One is by talking, one is by visualizing, one is by experience, one is by giving them that service, and so many other things. Articulating your ideas is very, very good, and it mostly comes when you're talking. First thing is articulating by the way you talk, verbal communication, and the last is words and images, which is easy, which we see and which we keep doing it. But like I said, we don't take heard of it. We just take things for granted, but there are few things which are for a purpose there. 3 C's of storytelling. One is your character. What character are you? Your character does not mean ki he's shrewd or he's rude. No. The character is made up of multiple things that talks about your story. Conflict. You're creating your character by creating some suspense, or you're creating a new thing in the market, or the new me. Okay. Conclusion. What is the conclusion? The result of your conflict, result of your character is your conclusion. How well equipped you are to help others and also to build your own. Now here comes your self-branding. How many of them are, on Instagram following so many other people? And how many of them are following you? There is no ratio that how many people follow me. It is of what is that particular Instagram handle talking about. Have you seen Instagram? There is only that ratio of picture. You have to spot zoom it, and you can save that particular picture, but nothing beyond it. You can repost it, reshare it. But how has Instagram intrigued people? I love Instagram. I tell that I'm an ardent fan of Instagram. I follow many people, and there are some of my favorites there whom I follow, and I see to it that I read about them because I get to learn from them. I don't think people are following me because probably I am not building that character there. I have not yet got that time to build the character. Probably tomorrow, if there are many of the people who are following me, and suddenly if I put a video of my playing the piano, and I say that I've started learning to the piano, and there will be so many views. So what are you doing? Neha is building some kind of a story. Oh, she plays the piano also. Oh, she sings also. Okay, she's read a recent book, so she has Instagrammed about it. But after reading the book, whatever reviews I am giving, that is more important. It is not about just posting a picture. Yes, Instagram has pictures first, but the pictures tell you a story. And there are a lot of them who actually harp on Instagram to be their business point of contact, and which is doing really well. So many of them are doing. All of this are doing. Instagram, Facebook is a very social thing. And the first one, if the first icon of a mic is called podcast. Now, podcast is like listening. You have to listen to what people are talking. It can be on different subject, different sectors. This is a new medium, given rise to long back, but given rise to its listeningship, because a lot of people are listening to podcast. You also can listen to a podcast on your own subject, which can be visualization, which can be calligraphy, which can be graphic design, etc., etc. You never know. For example, I'm just telling that, Achyut Palav comes with his podcast talking about calligraphy, and he's talking about Russian calligraphy. He's talking about Turkish calligraphy. So this podcast is mainly, tapping the market when people are going for walk, they listen to music, but there are percentage of people who listen to podcast, because that's where they keep their self upbeated and updated of what's happening in the market in their own field. And that's how they get lot of knowledge to share, and also to update themselves and the others, because what you hear, what you learn is very, very important. You cannot have just that much only. You cannot. अभी का जमाने में वो नहीं चलता है. इतना ही नहीं, आपको इतना करना है उसको. How you can do it? This is by how you can do it. You can storytell yourself, you can upbuild your skills, you can form networking, you can do so many things in life. Connect with people, create ideas, and collaborate. These, when I say learn, unlearn, relearn, these are the 3 C's, again, very important. Connect with people. You can connect with one of the greatest graphic designers in the USA and start following his work, and then tell him one day that, this is my portfolio, sir. I would like to share it with you. And can you give me a small internship? That's how people ask for internship. That's how you have to be. Shameless also, but at the same time, you have to have that, because you're following that person because you like that person. You should not follow him because तुमको internship चाहिए, वो बाद में आएगा. Okay, so at the same time, that person is also following you, or probably having a check on you, just to see that is he really for a purpose, or does he really want to work with me, or he wants to add on to his portfolio something. So connect with people, have networking skills, have a lot of people around you. People help. Even in the bad times and in the good times, people help. You never know, tomorrow you're out of this college, you want to do something in the eco-friendly space. You have the art background, you can create art, but you want to do something in the eco-friendly space. So you go back to the people you're following, somebody who is in the eco space, sustainability space, ask them what is happening, do what is trending in the market, and then find out your opportunity space. That's how it gives rise to startups. That's how startups just don't happen like that. You have to network with people, you have to get funding, you have to know what is capital investment, you have to know this, that, everything. But basically, people. Startup cannot happen just with one person. If one person has idea, he has to share it with the others, and the others have to have that much of faith that, okay, I will work for you and let's make it a big success. Secondly, create ideas. There are lots of ideas. Like I said, you can create n number of ideas, and that ideas can give rise to businesses, newer opportunity spaces, etc., etc. It need not be just outside. You can start something sitting in your chair, sitting in your house. Collaborate. The more collaborate you do, the more empowerment. You also empower others, and you also empower yourself. So collaborate. Tomorrow, if you feel that I want to collaborate with my teacher, and I want to do, a session, or probably a study of how LS Raheja School of Art was and what it was now. I want to do a historic or a history timeline of it. Make it creative. Let people know how LSR is like. Okay, that's how you collaborate. That's how you collaborate to empower, and you empower others. Now, that's one example I gave, but Collaboration gives rise to creation, and at the same time it connects. So they are all interrelated. They are no one people or separate ideas. That's why you learn a lot of things, you unlearn them, and relearn. When I came into academics, I did not learn how to be a teacher, or I did not know if I could teach the students of business design in a very esteemed, prestigious B school in Mumbai. I did not know. So I had to unlearn a few things, and my skills. Probably I went back and identified that I have a skill of explaining things. I have a skill of talking. I have good communication skills. Can I put them to use? And can I put them to use with academics, where I'm going to empower lots of students? Okay, at the same time, I'm going to have lot of networking. I'm going to learn so many things, and at the same time relearn them. There are so many things I have relearned and I have learned on my own. So in this whole process, there is lots to do, lots to gather, but this is your time, and you can have whatever you want, however you can do, but keep these few things in mind. And yeah, and this is my last slide, and thank you so much. I could go on this subject, but I think paucity of time, I can rather take some questions from students. I would like that. If you have any questions, it need not be related to this. It can be related to what you have in mind right now. Probably you want to know about something and everything. One thing I forgot to share. This is one book called Change by Design. Buy this book. It is a good book to understand design thinking. I have read this book. I also suggest this book to many of them. This is by Tim Brown. Tim Brown, he is the person who initiated design thinking, and design thinking is everywhere all over the world. Stanford Design, you name Royal College of Art, and he is the CEO of the company called IDEO. Please visit IDEO, IDEO, IDEO. And yes, listen to his lectures, listen to his podcast. That's where you understand and where you learn many things. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, if you have any doubts, please unmute. I don't mind y'all just unmuting and bombarding with questions. It is absolutely fine. And even if ma'am, professors, if you all have any questions, if in my capacity, if I can answer it, I will do it for you all. Students, so I do this thing of just calling up a student's name and picking them and chit-chatting. So probably if I could do that, if you all could, or Rasika Kulkarni. Are you there? You can switch on your camera. I would like to see you. Not there? Oh, yes, Rasika. Hi.
Hello.
So if there are anything, how did you like the session, or if there are any questions you
Yeah,
can ask?
I loved it. It was very informative, and yeah, I did enjoy it. It was actually
Did you know about design thinking first?
I hadn't heard the term. I mean, I know like sort of what it is, but hadn't heard the term.
Okay. So probably you, after my session, you can go on the YouTube or go to the website of IDEO and just type
Yeah,
Google search, just type design thinking. That's it.
sure.
Yeah. Yes. Anyone else? I think they don't want to ask any questions. They're done with it.
Neha, you explained it very well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
And I like those three words: learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Relearn.
Yeah.
Yes, because
I-
you're constantly learning, and
Correct.
probably you're unlearning a few things to learn.
Correct.
Like I unlearned a lot of things when I came into this institute to teach. I had to keep aside a few things and unlearn them to learn, and then automatically you you match the jigsaws together. That's why the graphic.
Correct. And I think in this technology era, this is a technology world. So these are the micro, काय म्हणतात ना, capsules. These are the capsules.
Yes, absolutely.
People, हाँ.
Everybody has taken technology in a right stride,
Correct.
because you adapted to it because there was no other charana, and there were but whatever was given to you on the platter, you made good use of it, and we are making good use of it. But at the same time, you cannot be what do you say, too digitalized in this.
Hmm.
There is some way you need to have that other side of agility to it and go about. So that's why I said that even if it is virtual, your networking powers, your talking to people, to know them, to follow them is very, very important. You might just not say that, okay, I am following Tim Brown, but you follow him for a reason. Don't just follow him because you're following him. He will enjoy his fellow followingship, but why Tim Brown, or what has he done? Or probably there is a person called, I follow and I read about him, is Roger Martin. He is from Stanford University. He is also one of the person who is teaching design thinking in various streams for management, for doctors, for agriculture people. Everywhere these things are getting used. So there are many people like Roger Martin. There is called Jean Lietka. So over the years, yes, got to know many, many people, and then you start liking them. You follow them because they write well, they talk well, so you get inspired, and that's where you unlearn and learn a few things. Any other questions? No. And everybody is from Bombay here? Yes, no. I would have liked it. Okay, okay. Good, good. Nice. And how many I hope that, okay, one last question to all the students. When I spoke about skills, okay, now I'm sure that something must have gone in your mind, something which is sticking. Okay. Apart from getting into an art school, okay, uh, what do you think you have skills for? Quickly, in one word, put it in the chat box. One word. Can they type, ma'am? Is
Can
the
you
chat?
can you repeat the question?
After explaining about skills, now you all are art school students. What is that one skill you feel that you can identify, nurture yourself, and you have it in you?
Okay.
One word is fine. You can say drawing, singing, sketching, or anything. Cooking, cleaning. Nobody? One word. Traveling, cleaning. See, traveling is not skill, huh? Traveling is some kind of an activity or a hobby you do. Cleaning, cooking, very good. Sports,
I
writing,
think.
dancing, very nice. Okay. Okay, I would like to ask this question to Krishna Lakhani. Can you switch on your camera? Cleaning. Cleaning. You said your skills lies in cleaning. Can you switch on your camera? Not there. I can't see you. Let me do the change of layout. Yeah. Cooking. Dhruvi Singh says cooking. And I think Krishna Lakhani is busy cleaning because she's not coming on camera. She's upskilling her skills now. So you know what? Cleaning is a good thing because cleaning just does not mean that you're cleaning this or cleaning that, but this your cleaning skills you can identify and give rise to a business model later on. Now that how you do is how you have to give a little thought process to it, but don't take it in a other sense. It is very very nice because cleaning gives a skills of that you're very organized, you're very skilled at something which not everyone can do, but you can do it. Organization, because people need somebody who are organized in their mind, who have a very organized structure in working, in personal and in work life. So that is very nice.
Her mic
Also,
is not working. Krishna's mic is not working.
that's okay, no problem, Krishna, it's okay. Yes, and some of them are saying writing, cooking, dancing. Okay, even if they are your hobbies, that is some skill which you possess. And one more important thing is that you should have a hobby with you always, whether it is dancing, singing, cooking, or an activity of traveling, or even sketching every day. It's a hobby. If you want to play 1 hour of piano or sing for 1 hour, okay, that's a hobby. Because I think by the end of by 2030 or 2035, we are going to be so occupied with so many things. These hobbies are going to come handy. So also, empower your hobbies, empower others' hobbies. The more you appreciate others, now the appreciation will come to you also. So learn to do that also. Learn to have a sense of gratitude, or appreciating skills, etc., etc., all that. Yeah. Reading, gaming, wonderful. Saurabh More, I think you love gaming. Do you know gaming is a big business now? Gaming and gamification. Have you heard of the word gamification, Saurabh? I just had a session with my student in the morning. They are doing gamification for one company where exams can have an environment of gaming. Now, for example, you say that 9th and 10th standard. Okay, now this is where design thinking thought process comes in. 9th and 10th standard. Now, they have got an average marks now in this pandemic, right? 10th standard. So if a person they've counted 9, 10, 10. So if that student in 9th standard had got 55%, in the 10th standard he's got distinction. Okay, so how are you leveraging the fact that how is this average being taken out? Is it other? And he's also been failing in 3 other subjects. So a direct distinction, how are you doing it? And now when you get into 11th standard, you're going to give an exam right now, right? So the exam is on what basis? Is it going to be on the subjects of science, maths, and physics, or it's going to be a general, like how you give CET or TOEFL exam or a language exam? On what basis? So gaming, okay, gaming is one thing where every age group is hooked on to it. Now gamification is doing everything like a game. So what if the exams were also done in a gamification? Okay, when you know that there are certain tools where you say that this tool is to fire a gun in the game, or this tool is to grab the pot of gold and create points, the same gamification can be added to your exam style also. You tell me how many of the students would have been, look at the mindset, listen, you have to understand the students mindset. They are going to 11th standard, they have to give an entrance exam. On what basis? On how are they going to be assessed? How are they going to be evaluated? Why not something like this is being brought? There is technology, there is 5G, everything can be done. So how can you bring gamification in, giving exams and make it interesting? So this way, your games also evaluate you. Your games show you how emotionally strong you are. They also assess you on um, how how organized your skills are, or are you a arrogant person, or are you a softer person, or you get very angry when you lose something. So it is also okay to fail. So fail fast. There is also one term called fail fast. It's okay to fail. You fall and you get up again. Be resilient, fail fast. So this is how, gaming and gamification is used nowadays. Lots of places. So Saurabh, gaming, you look at gaming in different sectors. When you go out of the college, you can use your gaming skills somewhere, and at the same time you have those graphical knowledge also. So you can design games, you can make a toolkit of games, and you can be, and it's not necessary you work in a graphic design place. You can work in an edutech company, you can work in an IT sector, where your skills of art and gaming will be used. So that's how you have to diverse your mind. You cannot be like a ghoda like this. You have to be like this. ये सब निकाल लेने का. You have to see what is around. क्या क्या चल रहा है, क्या क्या हो रहा है. Can I be a part of it? For this मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा? Like this. So very good. Gaming is okay. It's a skill, but are you going for gaming championships? That is another good skill. Huh? Have you won any competitions, which is an add-on to your profile? People look at gaming as a good thing. But don't waste your time in that also. You do some other things also, I say. Okay. So gaming is good. I don't play games. I don't know anything about it. But I know that if I like something, I'll get hooked onto it. I will also start playing. So it's a good thing. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I mean, anything else, then I think it's a wrap up, because students give me one answer here. Yeah, I would like to meet them in person. Probably that will create a different mood.
Correct. Swapna ma'am, can we conclude the session?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Neha, ma'am, it was a pleasure having you with us today. And we are very happy that we got to interact with you and learn new things. And the title itself was had a deep insight, like learn, unlearn, and relearn. And it is going to definitely help our students in their future. So I would like to extend a thank you from all of us. And we would love to meet you in person, maybe when everything pandemic gets over, and you can, we can talk to you directly and hear from you directly. So thank you so much, ma'am, for sparing some time for our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I had a nice time, and I could share some little important things with the students. I hope they implement them. They also study and have a look of what is happening in and around, and apply it in their studies. And also, that is going to be a boon for you all. So, thank you so much. Thank you, Ambekar ma'am. Thank you, Pawar sir. I can see here. Thank you, Nandini ma'am was here, and Swapna ma'am also. Pleasure and an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.